compromise between both the people wanting legislation and the people who don't.
I spoke to Mr. Hawkins and he did tell me that. I
Good.
talked to him at length. I think we should just wait and allow amendments and changes based on.
We can hold it at second reading. Another request would be, when I asked the mayor if we're ready to go with this, because I knew he was gonna talk to all those people. This may have a lot of different changes. I think we should do one thing, hold it at second reading, and then when we have it, give ourselves time to read it, and then have another public hearing. Because
Okay.
it may
Yeah, it'll
change
be very
drastically. It's more
different,
important
yes.
for them to, we haven't, I guess we had 100% no comments the last go around. Be an opportunity for them to talk about it, so.
Well, there are some people that would like to speak in favor of this,
Yes.
that were not.
Were they also part of the committee then? Or is this re-legislation just people who are against it?
No, we can hold it at second.
The best thing to do would be to hold it at second until other amendments come forward. And those other amendments, the people who are for it will have the chance to review it and say if they're for it or against it.
Yeah,
It's still a very controversial issue, and we're trying to be fair to everyone.
We really should have a work session, because if we have a public hearing and then we just move on and try to do it, there's really no time to discuss it in detail.
I tend to
Oh, I
agree
got
with
it
you,
in my
Dave.
phone.
I do think honestly, if we are forming a committee, there were some people with very strong views, but who would also, I think, compromise if they all work together.
Yeah, first of all those people that were against it and commented against it, I asked any of them that were interested in working with me to come up with a
That's fine.
resolution to give me their phone numbers. So I used the phone numbers that were provided to me, and those just happened to be people that were totally against it. So by working with the people that were totally against it, John Golden, myself, and 3 other people, we have some things that we would like to bring forward, and there's no time limit like this has to be done right this very minute. If it takes us 3-4 months.
That's a good question. Will we have the changes for the 13th meeting of August?
Yes, we should.
that we
That
could-
it will be written down because, number one, John's on vacation. Number two, the meeting being at the beginning of the month instead of the end of the month kinda did not give us enough time to
So if
come
we
up
have
with
it on
something.
the 13th, we could then read it, digest it, and then have a public hearing before the 27th meeting and vote.
Well, you have to think about your timing for a public hearing. You may just want to have a work session before you put it on the agenda.
Right,
Yeah.
well,
Don't even.
well, that's what I'm saying,
entertain it
yeah.
as an
Well, it's already on
agenda
the
item.
agenda. It's
No,
just
I-
we're gonna change it. Right?
Well, I think what the mayor is suggesting is maybe a wholesale change.
Right,
So,
on the 13th.
if that were the case, then perhaps you would want to consider having a work session before ever introducing a new piece of legislation.
That makes sense.
However you wanna do it is fine, just so
I
that
agree with you, Dave.
we allow people to have their input and try and put those input into words so that it would be something that would be acceptable to both sides. It's
So,
not
yeah.
what both sides want. Some want nothing, some want a lot. So we gotta meet somewhere in the middle.
I think we accept the input, we make sure that this is all understood publicly and what the proposal is, and
That's
we
fine.
work from there, okay?
No hurry.
All right,
It's a second reading,
yes. Ordinance number 61, 2015, Mr. Molnar, that's yours. An ordinance providing for submission of the electors, City of Macedonia proposed amendments
So we
section.
really have to talk
Those are
about
all the
any of
charter,
these,
yeah,
talk
no,
about them
I'm
for a
not,
month,
yeah,
so-
I'm not gonna go through all of them, this is the charter.
So
We're gonna
good.
go to third reading, and Dave, do you have anything to say about this one?
No,
Okay,
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If people have questions, I'd be happy to try to answer.
all right. Ordinance number 62, that would be mine, and that is going on third reading as well.
Really?
So-
Who is introducing the first one?
Is Jan Tully. Okay, ordinance number 63, 2015, Jan, that is yours. Third reading. Ordinance number 64, 2015, Ms. Hannigan, that's yours, third reading. And ordinance number 65, 2015, Mr. Engel, that is yours, that's third reading. And ordinance number 66, 2015, Mr. Monar, that is yours, that's third reading. Ordinance number 67, 2015, that would be mine, and that is third reading. And I'm just making sure, I'm trying to look at them real fast. Ordinance number 68, 2015, Ms. Tully, that is yours, and that's third reading. Okay, ordinance number 69, 2015, Ms. Hannigan, that's yours, and that is third reading. Ordinance number 78, 2015, Mr. Engel. Okay, ordinance authorizing the retention of GPD Group for professional engineering and surveying services regarding the ledge and Bedford Road drainage study. We did, first reading on that already. It
Yes, we
doesn't
did.
show.
Which one?
This one, on ordinance number 78.
Right, we did first
2000.
reading.
Yeah, when I did the cut and paste on, it shows it on the the agenda that went on Tuesday, yes, you did.
Okay, so we did, so this is it.
Yeah.
Did we all agree, Sylvia, you were gonna look into some stuff and we were gonna go
You're
second?
right, well, I
and
do
third?
have some questions. Yeah, I don't know if Nick is here.
Nick, you wanna come and take a seat over there, right, Sylvia? We're on, ordinance number 78, 2015, that's the Ledge Road and Bedford Road drainage study. She had some questions, remember, we were gonna go
Okay,
second
we're-
and third tonight, if we could.
Okay. Questions I have really relate to in reading through the ordinance, it appeared that we were doing a kind of a general survey. Who is actually going to be doing this, and what are the products we're expecting from it?
So it's written up as a feasibility study, so the survey portion of the work will be done by surveyors. Our surveyors will go out there, will make measurements and identify everything. And then, because we can't come up with any potential solutions if we don't use surveys out there to understand what's going on with elevations and volumes, so.
So you're saying we have to, and that's the component that you want to do, is just to revalidate what we've seen before, or because this is.
I don't know that you've done any actual field surveys out there before. The survey portion of that proposal is actually sending surveyors out in the field.
Okay,
with
so
instruments.
you're saying you have to have that to look at these water flows and studies. Now, there is a component here that's going to be a solution, a proposed set of solutions, right?
Yeah, I believe there were up to potentially 3 alternatives.
Yes, it did say that. I mean, but what are we talking about here? Are we talking about an engineering look at all this?
Yeah, this is an engineering study
Okay.
to present you with the feasibility of a solution or various solutions.
Mhm.
Right, this is not a detailed set of engineering plans that you would go
So
out.
we're still not at an engineering plan stage?
No, because, I mean, you can't design.
I'm just asking that because I want to
Thank you.
understand what we're
It
doing.
just tells you everything you
Right.
said you were gonna do.
So from a practical standpoint, we won't get any specific proposal, detailed engineering proposals like we had.
This is the process you go through
Yeah,
to get
this
to the
is-
specific.
yeah,
You'll
but-
identify what's going to work.
Mhm.
You'll have enough information, enough field study, enough engineering analysis to identify what will work.
Or what will not work.
Right, and the options will be presented for you to choose upon which path you want to go towards.
So
And
it's
from
similar-
that point, you would do a detailed plan to
It's similar
solicit
to
prices.
what you did at the roads, where you go out and you do a core study.
Right.
And you come back with, this is the plan for each road, but you didn't go out and fix the road, you went out and had to figure out what would work. And that's all detailed in here, what you're gonna present
The
back,
engineering
so-
estimates for the roads actually were based on a specific kind of solution for each property, each.
No, they did
Yeah,
a core
well,
sample of every road,
right.
so it's very similar.
So
You
we
do
can
an
identify-
engineering
Well,
study
they did
to
do that, but
identify
they
a
also did
solution.
an engineering
I'm not
estimate.
gonna argue with you, but it's logic, it's logical.
I get what you're saying, Jan, I'm not concerned about that, I'm asking you about a couple things here. So, if we're looking at this, your general comment is that before was this would be millions of dollars to fix this.
Depending on what the solutions could be. Or it could be, the cheapest option could be that you buy up the properties, knock them down, and never build there again.
Much of it, you don't know which one's
Well,
best.
obviously, we
Well,
don't.
this actually will enlarge the scope, because I don't think we went all the way up to.
This will
the
quantify
bridge.
things, this will those metrics.
And the changes that happened since that study was done quite a while ago before all their infrastructure.
We have not, we built a lot of housing development since the original studies were done. There's a lot more sitting on top of things. So when you look at the water dynamics down in the lowest part of Macedonia, which is what we're talking about, Ledge and North Bedford, basically. This is very much the end stream of everything coming downhill, everything coming from Indian Creek. Are you?
From that point, it's flowing south.
Yes, I know. So my question would be, is there any chance that what really has to be done would have to be, after you look at this, would be that we have to do something further uphill in order to slow it down, that kind of thing? How would that be included?
Further uphill as in.
As in, if you look at, for example, what's happening on Ledge Acres, at the bottom of Ledge Acres, where it's very close to Deep Creek, a lot of this is coming downhill from pretty strong canyon woods and Park Ledge and all those areas. Is there a chance that we will have to actually do something higher in Macedonia to prevent it from coming down so fast?
I'm not so sure that all these areas you're talking about are the same watershed. I mean,
Okay, I'm not sure either. I'm asking you the question.
that was not in this study, no.
Okay. Well, that's one of the concerns that we do have, is that, what's the whole dynamics of Macedonia, it starts up here and goes down here.
So
That's
you said
really,
the creek and all the tributaries, so that could take you upstream.
Portion
if there's a
could take it,
creek.
right.
Nick,
If
the
there's a tributary.
gentleman that had the neck brace on, that got up and spoke, he had said that surveys were done before. What happened to those surveys?
I think he meant surveys like we're
Like
going out to see
asking
what the
surveys
problem
of
is.
residents.
Right. This
What
is
types
not,
The city has never had any official surveys.
Okay,
This-
so
when
this will
he's-
be the first one.
right, when he's saying survey, he's talking about going out and
so the
determining
concern,
elevations,
I have is,
determining,
I think
measuring
this
the
water
land.
is coming
I'm
from
engineer.
The way that gentleman talked though, this
And I
had been
wanna
done a
make
long
sure
time
that
ago and nobody ever did anything about it, so that was my question, that's the only concern I had. I'm okay, so do you have any more questions for Nick so we can move on, or?
Well, I think that where we're at is that, in answer to the question, it sounds like you weren't anticipating you would have things coming from ups, below.
No, I just don't have my maps in front of me. I think we're talking about two different watersheds. I mean,
Right.
we could study every watershed in
Well,
town.
I know, I'm not asking that question, I'm
Well,
wondering
you
how
asked
this-
if it was up high,
Yeah,
this
if
was
I'm
gonna be
asking
part of
whether
a
the
higher, and
impact,
it's
do we
not,
know
so
or not know
we
that?
know it's not now, so
Yeah.
this is just down below.
Yeah, well, I understand, that's what I'm saying, but things above
Yeah.
have a tendency to be coming downhill, that's what
Right.
I'm
No, it's
saying.
not. It's
So-
a little
All right.
reading that
And that could affect all of this, is what I'm saying, and the solution would have to involve looking there too.
Right.
All right, so, let me,
Everything in this proposed watershed study would be
Yeah.
taken into consideration. So certainly, we wouldn't do this study and come up with options to present to you to fix problems in this area without having identified everything that's in that area.
what's
So-
driving it?
And according
Right.
to your map, the survey limits the drainage boundary areas all the way from Alexander, there's the
Right, it
racetrack,
does come
and
right
coming
across
down.
these
So
two
yes,
sets
it
of
would
lines.
take care of it according to the map you provided.
So it encompasses everything she's asking for.
Well, that was my question. So,
Right,
let's,
that's what's on the attachment.
let's do this then, all right.
Let's move along. The vote's on the floor.
I thought that there might be there's also some expectation that we were gonna talk about Iroquois behind Cerberus Park.
Well, I've talked to most of the people in council, I think I've talked to everybody, and the mayor, and I think everybody agrees that the solution to the Gabriel problem is behind that house. I think he's shaking his head, yeah.
Well, I agree,
So I think what I'd like to do tonight,
Okay.
either amend this to include directing the mayor to go out and get an appraisal, or making a motion, joint motions, telling the mayor to go out and get an appraisal to see what the house, so we can address that issue. Everybody okay with that?
Wouldn't that be a separate from 78 though?
Yeah, I said you could do it either way.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
might be better to separate.
Well, this study takes care of that.
No, this is the issue of the specific issue of the Gabriel's house. Whether or not we should buy it out. So I'd like to at least get an appraisal.
Mike Gabriel, that's in behind.
The one we put all the money into over the years.
How much of it done with that? Anything like that?
Well, it goes back a long
I
way,
don't
there's a
know.
lot of dams that were
You
built
do know the
up.
last time we had the major flooding, we drove around all the streets, there was no water for our kids. Bedford Road, the houses that we've always talked about had water coming up to their houses. The ditches on the other side of Bedford Road were full and starting to overflow. I went up into the B streets, they were having the same issue. Came down Shepherd Hills and there was no water at the bottom of that hill at his house.
Yeah, I think
Or
we
I
You're
would
talking
do
about
buy
somebody
them out.
wanna
totally
make a
different. You're
motion.
talking
Yeah.
about somebody
On the
different.
floor.
He can make the motion.
No, I know
Make the
William's
motion.
house.
Be happy to support the motion.
No,
I
you're
just
talking
wanna
about the
make sure
corner
this-
house on Shepherd Hills Boulevard there, Jan, aren't you?
Pardon me?
You're talking about the corner house?
That one's
I didn't
fixed.
buy his house.
Yeah, but are you talking about the corner house?
Yeah, we.
That's not
we
the one
put
we're
money
talking
into
about.
Everywhere.
I know, but
on
that's not the
street.
house we're talking about. We're talking about totally
Not called
different house.
Ledgeview Curve.
Cause I did stop and talk to that gentleman, and that gentleman said he has no problems. Since Shepherd Hills Boulevard was redone,
Right.
So are
the
we gonna
gentleman
buy
has.
out the houses on Bedford Road if we buy out Mike Gabriel's?
Well, we haven't,
Maybe we will.
had a suggestion of a solution.
Yeah, he's supposed to do the survey and let us know what
So
that.
this is a suggestion for Mr. If we buy out Mr. Gabriel, are we buying out his neighbors?
No.
The neighbors aren't having a problem, it's just him.
How do we know?
They,
I would make sure that if you, because that's a precedent you set, if you do that with one, who's to say we won't have a couple more show up? I don't have a problem with that. But I think before we say we're gonna buy your house, we need to look at all the properties that are in that area that are impacted.
There are several, Fred Tufts did a study in 2001 for the Indian Creek Village Estate, so there are other issues downstream of the Gabriel property.
That's true.
And at that time, I know Fred had a couple of options.
Be careful about buying somebody's house without looking.
We've never, I don't think
into
that
their
study's
neighborhood.
ever been given to council. Not familiar.
So we reanalyzed that in 2011. One option you could consider if you do move forward with the Gabriel property is if you do acquire that property, you know, then see if you can fit some sort of stormwater management right there.
Right.
And hold that stuff back, you would benefit everybody on your
Yes.
corner on downstream. If that house isn't there, you may be able to have some options to benefit everybody on that street.
You know, they may not come and complain.
Well, here's what is obvious from looking at the property. Mr. Gabriel has frequently had water when it's coming into his house. There's a lot of water coming off the Sugar Bush off those ledges.
Sledges.
What is happening also downhill is that I think the roads are being undermined by all that storm water that starts to, when we really have bad storms, it starts to flow downhill very rapidly. So there are damages that go downhill, I know that.
Right, so
But
this-
it might be what you're suggesting, that we could put some sort of water control issue right there.
Is the motion tonight just to investigate potential purchase?
yeah, or,
It's not
yeah.
to actually purchase.
No,
Right.
the motion is to direct the mayor to go out and get an appraisal.
But I would also say bad property and any others, because it may come back that this then,
Well-
what if we can't do anything in Bedford Road? That lady has had water up to her first floor.
Well,
So,
then we'll deal with
I
that.
think
Right
we
now,
need-
Nick wants to
No,
study
I think we need to
that.
put them all in there, because my concern is you're gonna
Vote
have others
against the
come up.
motion.
I
Okay,
have a
so-
guy down the corner from me. He
Ordinance-
would have
okay,
asked
let
for
me
us to
get
buy
this
his
right.
house
Ordinance
alone
number seven-
Because of the pipe from Guadalupe.
Ordinance number 78, 2015, we're gonna go to second and third reading, everybody comfortable with that? And then it's
Yes.
also gonna have an amendment. Dave, you got the,
What are you
No,
trying
no,
to say?
it's not an
we're gonna
amendment.
do something separate now.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna make a
Okay.
motion. The mayor asked me to make a
Do
motion.
you, okay, so then you wanna take care of that? the
I'll make
motion?
take
Okay.
care of the
All right,
motion.
that's all, and then, so we're gonna go second and third reading, everybody okay with that one?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, moving on to ordinance number 82, 2015, I'll take that one, it's an ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Lee Kaufman to the position of full-time police and fire dispatch. Does everybody, that's the confirmation from, it's Miss Kaufman, correct? Ms. Kaufman came from Sagamore, and, we're gonna be taking her on full-time, and from what I understand, she did take our civil service test years ago, so everything's a go in civil service.
The lieutenant.
Oh, come on in.
You have any questions?
I kind of double checked on everything, and plus Josephine went over everything with me. You guys had a civil service meeting, and everything's good to go with her, and she's okay for a full-time hire.
That's correct.
Okay?
And then the civil service, Matt?
Yeah, that's what I just said. So, everybody okay with 3 readings?
Yep.
Okay, I'm doing that. Okay, ordinance number 83, 2015. Nick, would you please take that one? And that's an ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Bruce Genovese to the position of part-time, police and fire dispatch. Everybody okay with 3 readings? Okay, Jan, would you please take ordinance number 84, 2015? And that is an ordinance appointing, the mayor, to appoint, Bruce Genovese to the position of part-time correction officer. Does anybody have any questions on these 2 appointments?
Yes,
or-
if this person is a Sagamore part-timer or what?
He was a Sagamore part-time dispatcher, and he had already applied for the corrections position, and then we were going through the background, and he applied for dispatch also, so.
Okay, I got it, okay. All right,
Okay.
that's fine.
And then, Sylvia, you could take ordinance number 85, 2015, and this is for another appointment by the
Okay.
mayor of Brian, how do you say his last name, Freyhoff, to the position of part-time correction officer. So if anybody has any questions or comments?
Bless you.
Ooh, that's-
Okay, everybody okay with that one?
Yep.
Ordinance number 86, 2000,
83. You're ahead of
We're
yourself.
around 86.
we're on 86 now.
Oh, okay.
Sylvia's taken 85. Ordinance number 86, 2015, an ordinance authorizing the city engineer to solicit proposals for the emergency pavement repair at North Freeway Drive. I guess both gentlemen, probably you're here to answer for this one, huh? I guess it was a terrible accident on a motorcycle.
What exactly happened to?
The road washed out, it was at night, all he sees is water, but in fact, it was a deep hole, and he hit it on a motorcycle, and,
He was ejected.
motorcycle went one way, he went the other,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
unfortunate, terrible.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, Jim could say, I don't know how bad it was injury, wait, what called?
Oh, yeah, Oakwood. Yeah.
Oakwood's called?
Well, they thought that was on Oakwood side, so.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
and it was Macedonia side.
Was that a result of the water damaging the road?
From what I understand, talking with Nick, that's exactly what caused it.
So from a legal standpoint, until we know about it, we're not liable, is that correct?
Again, that's a question for the law department or
That's pretty correct.
engineering.
Pretty much.
You were sure?
This is like a totally washed out area. This road was, I thought, repaired less than 10 years ago.
9 years ago.
So how come we have such a bad situation?
My guess would be that area has wetlands all over the place, adjacent to the roadway, so you've got extremely undesirable subgrade conditions there. So it's just.
So it wasn't properly done the first time.
Well,
I
Sylvia,
mean, it was stabilized.
you've got a lot of heavy equipment coming down that road.
Well, that's a different
That they're working
question.
up above, and they're working over there on Freeway, and so all of this activity going on, more activity than usual, too, it causes a lot of that, because it's causing a lot of the heavy equipment over by our streets. It's really
I
bad.
get that. I'm just trying to figure out, is this something that we should have had a better, if that's what you're saying.
I am not aware of what's in the design.
Okay.
The road was already failing. I had seen the road. I traveled that road, okay? The road was already bad. The water, all this rain we had, you couldn't see, when you're riding on a motorcycle, you cannot see. When there's a puddle, you don't know how deep that puddle is,
Okay.
okay? I mean, to me-
Obviously, this is very, very unfortunate that someone was injured.
Nick, can I ask Nick a
Yeah.
question? Nick, I may be confused on what I was seeing in my packet, but are we asking for funds for you to go out
and figure out what needs to be done?
No, this
Okay.
was to get prices to fix.
So we're just sending it out to contractors and say, if you're interested, give us a price. Okay, I just
But
wanna make sure I was.
The exhibit does identify a potential cost. The exhibit does identify.
Okay,
Yes, it
I
does.
understand, but that's not the cost we're incurring tonight. That's what you think that's what you think the cost would be.
That's
To
fine.
solicit the-
Okay, thank you.
Okay, ordinance number 86,
doing that one?
2015, I'm gonna give that one to Dave, if he would take that. And
Yep.
is everybody okay with 3 readings on this, because the road's gotta get
Yes,
fixed?
yes, yes.
It's coned up right now, so.
Right.
Okay, ordinance number 87, 2015, it's an ordinance authorizing the mayor and fire chief to repair specifications and bids for a new medic unit and advertise thereof. Chief Black, I guess that would be you?
Yeah, this is what I brought to the safety committee, I believe all council members were there.
Yes.
They asked me to come out with an ordinance so that the
Right.
money would be specified. We
So
don't
you're-
know what the state bid is yet,
Yeah.
and we don't know whether we're gonna bid it yet, but
Okay.
when we find something
All right.
that authorized for me to do that, so.
Okay. Jan, would you please take that one, ordinance number 87?
That's 3.
Yes, 3 readings. Ordinance number 88, 2015, Sylvia, could you please take that one? And that is an ordinance authorizing the mayor into an EMS billing service agreement with Life Force Management, Inc. And again, Tim is here to speak of that.
Yeah, just first reading on this, it's a big contract.
Okay.
That's all we need is first reading. We're working through with the law department on some language, just some wording in it and stuff. We've had a contract with Life Force since the early 2000s.
Yeah.
They're actually lowering their price. We have a new EMS computer system that we use tough books. We run in right when we're on call with them, and that filters into her system easier, makes her job easier, so she's lowering our cost from 8% to 7%.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see the 7% cost. Do we have any comparables from do other people do this in contract?
Well, yeah, most fire departments do.
Yeah. I mean, do other contractors do the same thing as Life Force? Have we looked at the?
We've never bid it out.
What do you think about the possibility of doing that? Because normally that's what we do.
It wouldn't hurt to do that. This company only does fire departments. They're the only ones that I'm aware of that only do fire departments. We're extremely happy with it, so we never really went out and bid. I don't know whether we would get it. It's usually 7-8% is right.
Well, that's my question. You know, if
We look at their percentage of collection.
Sure.
Like I say, we're happy. We could get it for 6%, and we collect half the money.
Well, I understood. That would be part of any performance spec that you have to have that amount of collection. But I'm just wondering because of I don't know what the volume, what's the actual annual likely cost of this? I mean, what do we pay?
collect anywhere about 300 to 350,000.
So they would get 7% of some thousand. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's
We're
gonna
gonna
be
do
in the
first.
20,000 range. I'm not so sure it's worth it. Okay.
First reading?
Yes, that's what
Okay,
you said.
ordinance number 89.
Who's
Sorry.
doing first reading, Rita?
Sylvia, you were doing
Okay,
that one.
all right.
I'm sorry. I thought everybody heard that, sorry.
Here you said.
Ordinance number 89, 2015, Nick, would you please take that one? That is an ordinance authorizing agreement with Cost Recovery Corp. LLC in order to provide billing and related services regarding motor vehicle accidents. Would that be this one?
Yes, again, first reading, big contract, we have to digest the MVA billing. We had MVA billing in the city, it was suspended a couple of years back, this is reintroducing it. It is for extreme cases, the court worked this out, that fire departments can bill for certain situations that were on scene for a long time. Contractor gets a gas line, gas is leaking, we're there, we're evacuating houses, we're out for 6, 7, 8 hours, and the contractor's found at fault, and we can say, you're gonna reimburse the fire department for our time. Hazardous materials truck goes off the road, goes in the ditch because the driver fell asleep, and we're on scene while they unload everything, then we bill that driver. So
That would be an extreme kind of case.
it's always an extreme type of case. Yeah, this is not the average, call. It requires a separate sheet. Myself or the captain will be why the ordinance actually reads a variety of different emergency situations, the gas leak, things such as that. One good example is we were having council when the truck went up 82 and a hose fell off the back and it put McDonald's grease for a mile up our street. And we had a good coat of McDonald's grease from right here all the way up to Shepherd Road. Any car going on, kick the brakes in for going off the
Yeah,
road.
really.
We backfilled him because we had to be out there for 6 hours cleaning that stuff off the road. So in those cases, we would say, you're at fault, and we're gonna have to pay for our services to get out there. And usually that's an insurance claim anyway, their insurance companies do.
Right.
For that. So, and that's at a 20% collection rate because the amount of effort that goes into that is much
There's more.
larger than
Yeah,
just the
I
EMS.
get it.
So they charge a 20%, and that's only what they collect. It's like EMS, it's only what they collect. They collect zero, we pay zero.
I
They
get it.
collect $100, we pay them 20 for that.
Yeah, I did notice that in that Life Force one, they were not billing the residents. It appeared they were going to exempt the residents from the.
Yes, we do a soft billing here in Macedonia. When we started the EMS billing, that we bill Macedonia residents, we accept what their insurance pays,
Right.
and they don't have to pay a deductible or co-pay, we accept that as 100% pay. So we've been as high as collecting $350,000 one year, and we average right around 300,000.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim. Does anybody have any other questions? Ordinance number 90, 2015, I will take that one. That's an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Attorney General for delinquent debt collections. Don, yes,
Oh, again, too, that has to do with safety services.
Another one of mine, this will be first reading, big contract. This is our Attorney General's office, state of Ohio. They are now doing collections for cities, for delinquencies. They build their costs into that. We don't send a lot of people to collection, okay? Usually we accept what they pay, we look at hardships, we look at all these, but there is a large contingent of people that receive money from their insurance company to pay us, and we never see that money.
Yes.
We decide to keep that money. Those people I send to collections, they need to pay us what is owed us. And we send to the collections, we always had a collection agency, they collected 35% or 25%, it was quite high. The Attorney General now took that on for communities to get delinquent tax amounts and to get delinquent fees like that. So the contract.
This is only for your type of, or?
Well, no, they'll actually do it for anything, but I'm looking at it just obviously for my EMS and
Right.
also for my MBA building.
Are-
But they do it for a variety.
Are
of
we
things.
considering having them do this for other things, Mayor?
Well, it's becoming more and more popular right now. The only thing that we're concerned with is the safety services
Okay.
recovery. But other
It does say
issues
you
are
will
being
collect the whole.
collectible by the Attorney General, who gets a tremendous response, because if it says Attorney General, people pay. So we might.
Is the Attorney General charged for the service?
They put their charges into the person for collecting the fees, so we pay no fees.
All right, thank you.
What they collect, we get minus what their fees are. And I can get further on that, it's kind of a new thing, but they build their fees right into what they charge. So like I said, it's the state of Ohio, so it's a government agency that's collecting those funds.
First reading.
Yes, first reading. Okay,
Okay.
ordinance number, I'm gonna take that. Ordinance number 91, 2015. Jan, would you please take that? And that's an ordinance appropriating money from the general fund to be transferred to the Department of Fire accounts 101-222-5240 and 101-222.5580. And that is, Jan, if you remember, that is about the uniforms.
Does this make us whole or just
Yes, it
get
does,
us to?
it does make us whole, and that is just, really an accounting thing. We cut POs for clothing allowance for our personnel. That exceeded what, we had, budgeted. They normally don't spend that much, so we budgeted for what they normally spent, and it was brought up that it was over, because this will cover us.
Okay.
Yes, this will cover us.
Thank you.
It'll cover those expenses. I'm not looking to spend all of it, because
Right.
traditionally we don't, but rather than looking at 150% over on that line item, we have existing
And that's what, you know, for next
out
year.
there. Money hasn't been spent. but it
Next year, I
could be.
think we need just to put in the dollar amount of the contract. 9 times out of 10, actually, I don't think you've ever spent the whole,
No.
ever, in all those years, but it should be the whole being there, because by contract, that's what you're allowed.
Well, if you're
Okay.
writing POs
Thank
for
you
the
for
money,
putting
it
this
could be
together.
spent. So I just wanted to correct that for.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, right?
Yes.
Okey-dokey.
Ordinance number 92, 2015. Sylvia, would you please take that? That's an ordinance appropriating money from the general fund to establish a new account entitled the Holiday Fund 101-170.5625. These are for decorations throughout our parks that we're redoing. And I've seen some of the decorations, and they're all, I've talked to Brian, the electrician, and this was more or less Brian, the electrician, who's been doing a lot of upgrading, would like this, and the stuff is pretty nice, and it's LED lighting, and it's gonna be nice. And he pretty much is trying to stay between 8 and 10, but he wanted a buffer of 15, just in case, just so he doesn't have to keep coming back from council. But if he doesn't spend that, that money will be there.
So these are gonna be permanent lighting
Yes.
fixtures that we
Yes.
can use for years in the
Permanent.
future? Well, I meant for
Well-
over more than 1 year.
Oh,
We
yeah.
used to
Yes,
put up
this-
lights in the park and then we only used them 1
Yeah,
year.
this
with
is
them.
all gonna be all brand new stuff. It's gonna look really nice. They worked real hard on it, all the service department and the electrician.
Okay.
But they'll
So-
only be up for holidays.
Yes.
Or
And well-
I would gather the Christmas holidays.
Well, right now, it looks like the stuff I seen was mostly Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas is the Memorial Park Christmas. We've been
Okay.
purchasing about 6 pole decorations a year for my budget to have something.
And has this only been Memorial Park?
And Route
Memorial,
82.
yeah,
Right.
Memorial Park will be the prime, but
Right.
Route
And then-
82 is gonna have different poles, will
Okay.
need different.
Like we used to have the hanging before.
Well, now we have snowflakes, we have bells, we have all those things. We've been purchasing those 6 at a time every year, trying to build them up.
Have
And
we
this
thought
will
about
help.
getting sponsorships so we don't pay the money at all?
Yes, and it was done in the past, all right, but in fact, I used to be involved with that. That was done in the past, but we've been doing it just out of city funds.
Well, want me to
That's
do
why
the-
we're only doing 6 at a time.
Allow me to be the Scrooge here for a moment. $15,000 to me can get a lot of paving work done. I mean, I'm all about having beautification, especially around the holidays and making it look nice, but 15 grand could do a lot in terms of strip patching. I know, over there by Lavender's house, he brought it up, I don't know, a couple months ago about how it's deteriorating. I know that's not supposed to be repaired. That's 15 grand right there.
Well, I think,
That's something to think about.
I think this, I think this is a way of having Macedonia look a certain way and the
If you can't drive on the road, who cares on the road?
Well, I know, but
Getting the
we're
roads
paying for
fixed.
those things. What I'm saying is that we put on a big
We
festival
have not been
and
fixing
all of
roads in
that.
your,
That's
in your
right.
mind?
We've
Yeah.
done those things, so to me, this is worth at least considering. I think we wanna have this place look like it's.
Are we
When
going
does he
to
have-
first
When does he
reading?
have to purchase them? We could just do a first reading. He doesn't have to purchase them right away.
Yeah. you could
Get
do
any
that.
opinions from people? Yeah.
But the,
Does he have to buy
Yeah,
them right away?
sponsorships, that's a good idea too, because a lot of the banners, they can have a company in town that would say, Mayor Happy Holidays or whatever, or sponsored by.
those banners deteriorated and looked like hell.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard to put a name on electric
They actually
snowflake.
used to be still.
Well, I'm saying if you had a banner of some
That's
sort.
right, so that's why we don't have names now. We just have.
But I.
It sounds like that's not a popular
This has to do with
suggestion.
the new foreman and the electrician have been working hard, and also Tom,
But
trying to make
every
the
year,
parks look.
we get a lot of complaints.
Yeah, we do.
I get a lot
So-
of complaints from people saying.
I'm
"We
one
look
of the
so
complainers."
Mickey Mouse, we need to have something nice, and this is just reacting to that, Nick. That's all.
Okay, so first reading,
No, I think we
Third reading.
Third
All right.
reading on this, please.
Okay, and, ordinance number 93, Dave, would you please take that one? That is an ordinance making appropriations in order to facilitate various operating expenses year to date. Okay,
What is that number? Let me remind
That
myself.
is-
Which one was that?
93,
93.
107,000, 106,927.
Okay, so that has to do with Highland Road expense and there's an additional 106 for another
where did you
item.
get
I wanted to ask,
that? Oh,
Yes, this is the one where Highland Road came higher than anticipated.
Do you want us back?
And we have to, but I don't think anyone would disagree that we're going to finish, which is
well, no,
awesome.
obviously we do. I will say Highland Road, we can, the county will give us permissible license tax money to cover the expenses to the extent that they have the money in that fund. And I believe at this point they should have around 70,000. So we should,
I'm
that
not
doesn't mean
sure
we
that's
shouldn't do
so,
the.
yeah, I'm not sure.
I did
Might-
talk to
It might have been committed
Steve.
by us though, previously.
Yeah,
Well,
I understand we
I'd
already
like to
committed
get you
some of
an
that
opinion.
money.
Yeah,
to
give me
the
an update,
project.
just give me an update as to whether what is existing out there.
For-
Yeah, we
for
should ask for
license
anything,
plate
yeah,
fees.
right. We should, when I talked to Steve Bruno about 2 months ago on that, he indicated we did have money.
Yeah, there was money there, but I don't know if it's committed, let me check.
Right, okay, that's fine, but that doesn't mean we can't do this now because we can just
Right.
reimburse the general fund,
Correct.
okay?
And this is needed so we can pay.
Yeah, I understand.
So this is a third reading then?
I would say yes.
Okay. Everybody else okay with third reading?
Not bad, but
all right. Ordinance number 94, 2015, ordinance appropriating funds necessary for dispatch upgrades.
These dispatch upgrades are equipment that you were.
it's the second one.
Yes.
Right.
We've already received the check also.
Okay, I understand. We received it. We could actually utilize, put that into this.
And we already get the,
That's all we're doing here?
and we already get the check.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Checks in the mail.
I have a copy.
Yeah, he actually has a check. He said.
Yeah, I have a copy.
Yep, I knew that.
Okay, so,
Yes.
who's?
Nick has that one.
Okay.
Ordinance number 95, Sylvia, you can take that one, 2015, that's an ordinance appropriate funds for the use by the Parks and Recreation Department in order to cover
Is
necessary
this the
expenses
electrical stuff
year
I'm
to
on?
date, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is electrical.
So, this one, the electrical bill was higher this month or something like
Well,
that.
too, because that was
Year
because
to
of
date.
the festival as well.
No.
They have those big
No.
ones.
No, not the
it's the
festival.
scoreboard tower.
The
I
scoreboard
believe.
tower?
Yeah, their usage, I mean,
The festival didn't have an impact
No.
because the festival, they used their own generators.
Okay,
They
so.
were not using city power.
I did talk to
Most of
the
it.
electrician,
Mhm.
and the electrician said too that, some of the big lights that were used, that are still on, evidently,
It's just
the
gets attached when he gets.
costs
they
are
ask
up
him for
right
more
now,
money,
but they're
they
gonna
have
go
to
down,
explain to the
they'll be
mayor why.
going back down.
So she breaks it down, this is the scoreboard
He's gotta turn
usage.
off those
I
big,
see.
the big
This-
lights.
I got it. I got it.
Apparently
Thank
in
you.
the parks,
Why hasn't he?
Okay, I got it.
Why hasn't he?
cause he's not in town. And I don't know if somebody else can turn them off, or I didn't ask that question, I just know that they're still, still going. And I'm not the service department, you would have to ask that department, like the
You talked to him,
foreman.
that's what I wondered.
Well, he just told me, I asked why the costs were so high, and it has to be, this is back from June 24th of 2015, and a lot of it, the increase is from the festival too, as well. He says that
Oh,
there was a
whatever.
lot of,
It sounds like the scoreboard and the festival had increases.
yeah, some different stuff going on, so,
Okay. So that's third reading tonight
Yes.
then? Okay.
okay, that would be Sylvia.
That's me, yeah.
Okay, ordinance number 96, 2015. Jan, would you please take that one? That is an ordinance appropriating fund, transfer from the general fund, 101-110-5575 for citywide server upkeep and other citywide computer maintenance.
What is new now on this computer maintenance?
well, we had one new person that had set up, and then we had server repairs that were necessitated, I believe, and we go back to make sure that we'd be, not contributing to our downfall of our websites.
I see, all
But
right.
we also looked at, because it seems like we just did one for
Yeah,
one
did-
department.
Well, that
Now
was
we're getting
just, that
another one.
was.
No, no,
Different, yeah.
but, no, my question is, have we looked for the rest of the year to make sure that we've accounted for, I know we can't account for emergencies, but are there any system upgrades that FinCom could tell us are coming, you know?
I
We just got
can't
an
answer that
EDOT,
question
whatever it
with
is.
us. I would have to check with John.
Could you,
can
because
get back
I
to
don't
you.
wanna revisit this every meeting, if we could just put enough in there, and then if it's not spent, that's a good thing, but then we don't have to revisit it every meeting.
I don't know,
I
think
know we had a lot of
spent a lot of
upgrades
money
that
on
we
it.
did not account for in this budget, so.
over a
On
hundred something
maintenance.
I'd
thousand
like to get an
dollars.
IT assessment.
Yes, I'm with Nick. Let's do that. You make the motion and I'll second it.
For what?
IT assessment.
Yes.
I think it's time we took a long, hard look at what we're spending all around for IT, because a lot of communities are starting to take a look at it to see if there's better ways that you can save money over time by assessing what you have and what you could add and what you could do better, so.
And you might wanna look at it based on security, knowing of the 3 big breaches that happened
Vince, I
yesterday.
think, wants to address her.
I really want to speak about this, and I'm believing I have no real knowledge of IT, but I can tell you, I want to make sense. Years ago, Warren Sengstock asked Windstream to come in and evaluate this phone line.
Right.
Okay? And after that evaluation, I don't know how I got pulled into it, because a lot of the communication stuff was our hardwire stuff for police and fire. But after that, we found we were able to save $720 a month, because we had lines we weren't even using. Now, that's not the same thing about income, it's irrelevant, but I know that, our current phone company, Raytech, has done another evaluation recently, and they have that report available for us to look at. I know there's potential savings there, not even changing some of the company that we use or some of the, services we use, but some of the stuff is just so outdated, like we were paying on a C1 line.
Right.
Yeah, this is true. You need to have a regular process of doing that, and I think that we should.
If I might just interject, we did have a renewal of a protection contract
What?
just recently.
Yeah, but I, you know, to next point.
Antivirus, that kind of protection.
But to next point, you know,
Yes.
especially with the way the technology
That's fine.
changes every other month.
Sure.
And with the breaches that are going out in the general world, I just got pinged that there are now
Well, we've already
21
signed.
million social security numbers that we breached. You know, that's the kind of things that a community needs to be
agree.
more aware of, because it's the government entities that are now starting to get breached. So, you know, if you make a motion that we could have someone take a, excuse me,
No,
you do that every time I speak, though. I find that very offensive. I looks at a watch every time I speak.
I've spoken a lot tonight. Have I
If
looked-
we make a motion, then we could have someone go take a look at it.
Right, I
I'll
agree
make a
with
motion
that
tonight
hundred
to,
percent. And I'll,
I'll make a motion tonight to make an IT
Okay.
assessment.
Yeah, we probably.
But just know that this obviously comes at a cost, and I've done this in another community, so.
okay, ordinance number 797, 2015. Dave, would you please take that? That is an ordinance completely repealing existing ordinance section 1171.19, codified ordinances, donation boxes prohibited, and adopt a new ordinance 1171.19, which regulates donation boxes and creates a permitting process. Don, could you tell us about this? I know Mr. Martin had brought this. This was Mr. Martin's. Yeah, it did it.
Yeah.
They never took them out.
I know that's true, but.
The irony of it is they never did anything, so it really is all irrelevant.
Well, actually, this came from the law department because they came after us for discrimination. And yeah, it's a legal question. And by not allowing these boxes, we place ourselves in jeopardy of some kind of a suit that would.
I think the issue there was that no one was opposed to the boxes. It was just they would collect a lot of stuff outside when they
Right.
were full, and they wouldn't pick them up for a period of time, and they got to look like a trash can.
And there are different companies. The company that we are bringing forward, that brought this forward to our attention, that we can't do this, it's like freedom of speech type thing. They have the right to put donation boxes there. Has a good record.
Can we hold them to,
Well,
you
you
know,
have to get
keeping
a
it
permit,
clean?
right?
Well,
What's in
let's
there?
put it this way, we can cite it,
Mr. Deaver just
we can cite it.
Well, let me ask a question,
time for
because
a
we
question.
had actually put in restrictions. And then are you saying that you went from restrictions to total prohibition?
Yes.
Yes, at
Oh,
one
well, now
time,
we opened ourselves up.
Josephine,
Yeah.
why don't you see if Mr. Deaver
it,
here?
it was Ken Martin's idea at that time to get rid of all of them.
So we're going
And,
back to all the things that we had, which includes,
My
Maintenance.
understanding, you would need a permit.
and you can revoke a permit, so we've got
Right.
a revocation
Are they
of a
gonna,
permit. So
we're
can
gonna
we
charge,
put in
are they gonna
amount?
have to pay us for a permit?
Good
Yeah.
time.
I don't know
We're
about
talking about
cost.
the donation boxes. If they get to a point where they're not picking up in an appropriate period of time, or it gets to look like a trash can or stuff's laying outside of it, can we revoke it at that point? Is there steps in there that show that in the contract for us to remove them or hold their contract and get them to get their cans out of there?
I don't know about revoking, but we can certainly regulate and have punishment and sanctions of some kind, picking up ourselves and charging excess.
So the new amendment, what are those sanctions, or what is it?
I don't have it in front of me, but there.
Why don't we do it first reading?
Yeah, sure.
So you need an amendment, there's nothing in here saying.
All right.
So started to notice them everywhere too.
Resolution number 98, 2015, I'll take that. That's a resolution declaring the month of August 2015 Summit Kids Month and the County of Summit. Everybody okay with 3 readings?
Sure.
I think we should challenge this in court.
Yeah.
There's got
Screw the
kids.
kids. Who's gonna do this one?
I am.
Oh, you're just trying to get the kids out.
Yeah. Well, I could give it to Nick since he's got young. I still got kids.
Those aren't kids anymore.
They're just getting a little older.
Adolescents.
All right.
Just so you know.
All right.
Oh, the trash company. Yeah. Well, you better make sure that trash is picked up.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, it was a 121, I don't know.
I'm showing that it's 7:34 PM. Mrs. Arcisi, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Darrow?
Here?
Mr. Engel?
Here.
Ms. Hannikin?
Here.
Mr. Mulner?
Here.
Ms. Tully?
Here.
I would like to now ask everyone to stand. Please remove your hats as Council President Rita Darrow leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Councilman Nick Molnar will lead us in a prayer.
Dear wise and loving Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are here gathered today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance and friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thanks as well for freedom to embrace you, you, or the freedom to reject you. Thank you for loving us even so, from your boundless and gracious nature. Amen.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to, may I please ask if we can accept the financial report?
I move that, Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the financial report that we have received for the month of May.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Next on our agenda, we're going to have a presentation this evening from Amy Budnick from Summit County Public Health Department. Hi, Amy.
How is everybody?
Okay.
Welcome, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak here. I will be very brief, as it looks like you have a packed agenda. I just wanted to share with you that I am from Summit County Public Health. However, I represent a larger collaborative called First Things First, which is an initiative that identifies many agencies that have been facing children of Summit County. So several years before my time, my work at Summit County, a community needs assessment was conducted to identify barriers and assets. And from that, there have been working committees that have been developed to address these needs within the county, to look at education, health, and well-being. And so as a culminating event, August is Kids Month. And so throughout the month of August, we like to highlight all of the events and programs that look to address these particular areas of well-being and school readiness, with the final culminating event being on August 15th, the Summit Kids Expo down at the John S. Knight Center. So I just wanted to share with you a few of our highlights for that particular month, so you have an idea of what actually happens if you're not as familiar. The first week is our Early Learning and Great Beginnings Week, and so we really focus on kindergarten readiness. So there's events and other activities that are really highlighting getting children ready to register for kindergarten and begin those first few weeks. There will be several fairs that are noted, and I will leave the website and information as I leave this evening. Our second week is Family Week, so we're highlighting events in the communities all around the county that are looking at, fatherhood, healthy life course model, and community services. So if there's a walk or a run or something that you'd like to highlight from this particular area, we are very happy to do so. Our third week is Child Wellness Week, and we focus on immunizations, physical health, health screenings, all of those things that children need to maintain to stay healthy throughout the year and as they begin going into school. And then our final week, which is a very significant one, is the Child Safety Week. And then this week we will focus on bike helmets, car seat safety, so there'll be several events, and one of the larger ones is the awareness about safe routes to school. So how do children get to school and what's the safest way for them to get there? So I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you so much for your support and allowing us to provide information about this initiative, and any information that you can share within the community, we really appreciate. We're happy to highlight all of our events, and we've been doing so as we're hearing about them on our website. And so our website is First Things First. It's summitcountyfirstthingsfirst.com. So we are very excited, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Amy.
And I've left you goodies. So you'll see that's what one of our major focuses this year was, to provide a lot of this information and support and resources to our community libraries. So what you have in your hand is what we provided to all the libraries to pass out to all the families and residents that come throughout the day. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
You are
And
welcome.
Can we clarify one quick question? Anything that we would want to know, is the website the Summit County
Yes. First Things First.
firstthingsfirst.com?
Yes,
So-
absolutely. So our calendar events list by week, but we also have a regular traditional calendar for someone like me who needs to see everything laid out by the date. If there's additional events that you would like us to highlight or add into that calendar and begin to share out, we're very happy to do so as well.
So Mary, do we have a link off of our website?
And that would be excellent too.
No, we don't, that I'm aware of, but the gal who handles that's on vacation.
Okay,
Amy, could you provide me with some contact information?
yes. I can leave my card,
Please,
actually.
please,
Absolutely.
And I'll do that, okay?
Okay, wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much. Now
Thank
the
you.
electronic era paper is less and less.
Yes. All right, next, we have our comments by the public. We ask you to come to the front to make your comments, give us your name, your address, and try and keep your comments to 5 minutes, because we have a lot of people that want to speak this evening. I would like to mention before we get into public comments that many of the comments tonight are referencing ordinance number 52, 2015, which is an ordinance relating to snowmobiles, off-highway motorcycles, and all-purpose vehicles. That particular ordinance at this time is being held at second reading. We're not moving forward with it because there are pros and cons on this, and we're trying to get together with some of the people to reach a happy medium in between. So this will not be acted on tonight. Keep that in mind, and we still would like to hear what you have to say. So first on the list this evening is Dan Havlicek. Dan?
My name is Dan Havlicek. I've lived in the city for 52 years. Had a lot of experiences here, but that's not why I'm here to talk. John Kastner has just gone under the knife for cancer. So if anyone would like to give him a prayer, I would appreciate it. He is the Longwood Manor president. I don't know the results because I haven't talked to his wife. That's one note. The other notes I wanted to make mention, I had the distinct pleasure and really moving experience of going to Twinsburg for the latest wall showing in Twinsburg. It was very emotional. It was hard to keep from not having a tear in your eye. I saw the cost of freedom right up front. I saw the cost of what it cost us, our children and our brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts. A lot of people died so that we can do what we're doing today. I was very, very moved, and I'm sorry I'm moved now. I also saw and talked to Holly McTerrian, a woman whose husband was gunned down in Twinsburg. It was a very emotional meeting with her also. She has held up very nicely considering what she went through, and her children, of course. Again, this is the cost of freedom, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's freedom of safety or whether it's freedom of us living in a free society, there is a cost. Everybody kind of forgets it a lot of times. I was already almost recalled twice for Desert Storm 1 and Desert Storm 2. I'm a lifetime veteran. I've served my entire life in the Navy since I was 19. There are many other people who served much, much more time than I have. Also, we are a determined group that are trying to restore the Manor House. That man served in not one, but 2 world wars in combat. I'm very proud to say that I'm on that Longwood Manor Historical Society trying to save that beautiful home of his from the bulldozers. We're determined to do it, but we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for people who would help us do it. There's a lot of work there. We know we can get it done if we just have enough help. We want to make that place a jewel of this city because that man was so generous, because even after serving in not one but 2 world wars, he donated 300 and some acres of land to the residents of Macedonia, all of us. We all owned that park. And because of it, the city was able to put up the rec center, was able to put up ball fields, soccer fields, was able to put a golf course in there. That man was about as generous as you can be. He could have given it to his children, which he had 1 son. He could have sold it to a developer. Some people do that. But this man said, no, I'm going to leave something for the residents of the city of Macedonia to show them how much I love them and the city. Okay? Another man did that 2,000 years ago, and they nailed him to a cross. Thank God Mr. Long wasn't nailed to a cross. But I feel strongly that all of you who missed that thing in Twinsburg missed a very moving, eye-opening thing that showed all of you the cost of us in a free society. Whether it's a woman, whether it's a man, they paid the ultimate price. And some of us who still serve in the military are willing to sacrifice ourselves if need be. As I said, I was myself recalled twice, almost recalled twice. I would have gone, but if you recall, Desert Storm 1 lasted 100 hours. We destroyed Saddam Hussein's army, and we threw him out of Kuwait. So it was a 100-hour war. I didn't have to go. And there was Desert Storm 2. I came close, but again, I didn't have to go. Any one of us who served a lifetime in the military is subject to recall for the rest of our natural lives, no matter how old we are, unless we're actually infirm and we can't do the job anymore. In case you don't know this, in the 2010 census, there's no less than 1,150 veterans who live just in Macedonia, just in this city. That doesn't include Twinsburg, it doesn't include Northfield, it doesn't include Sagamore Hills or Northfield Village. Just in this city, there's 1,150 of us. Some served for lifetime, others served for a period of time. All served. And as that saying goes, some gave some, gave all. Okay? The cost of our freedoms to come here and have a council and have a mayor and have all these other great benefits are because of what they paid and what some veterans still pay. Whether they're subject to recall, like myself, or whether they served and are still being able to serve. Colonel Quigley over there in the corner is like, he's the only one I know of in this room that has put a lifetime of service to the United States of America. We're proud to do it, and we're proud to continue it. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have Mike Gabriel. Mike?
Hello, Mike Gabriel, 883 Iroquois. I stood here almost 1 month ago to talk about the concerns relating to stormwater issues at my home. The storms on the weekend of June 26th, 27th were ultimately bad situations for many people in Ohio, myself included. At 4:30 in the morning, my wife woke me and the kids to start hauling furniture out of our family room due to heavy rains and water coming into our yard toward the house. With them doing that, I ran outside, placed sandbags, removed any debris that was being sent into my yard and toward the drains. I was out there until the storms subsided about 10 a.m. All three of the catch basins in my yard were overwhelmed and overflowing. Water debris was being spewed toward the house and down the street into other people's properties. The rock ledge over which the water flows into my yard has become seriously eroded from years of water, which only compounds the problem because now the flow of water and debris is even faster and stronger. I don't know if any of you are familiar with my property. I'm literally right below Sugarbush Park. The rock ledges are my backyard. In the recent edition of the News Leader, Mayor Cookton made mention of that storm, along with comments from Councilors Sylvia and Jan. The mayor noted that all the water from Sugarbush drains toward the Gabriel property. I am here tonight to hopefully achieve what is in the best interest of my family's health and safety, as well as the rest of the residents of Iroquois Trail. I again offer my property for the city to purchase to build a retention basin that can be maintained by the city or whatever needs to be, you assume, feasible. This would benefit every homeowner on my street, and I would like to thank you all for your attention to this issue. With this being said, I do have another engagement I have to go to, and my canoe is double parked outside.
All right.
Thank you again.
Very good. Mike, just so you know, Dave, if you would like to mention what's going to happen.
We've discussed at the council meeting tonight, we have another legislation for some water issues on Ledge Road, which is going to be passed tonight. We're going to be, I'll be offering a motion directing the mayor to go out to secure an appraiser for the purposes of appraising your property. Of course, once the mayor determines what appraiser he wants to use and the cost of that appraisal, that'll have to come back and we'll have a contract signed. So we're moving in that direction because the mayor, Mr. Feeney from the engineering department, and everyone has concluded that there's really probably no other solution there because of the park and the lay of the land, other than to do this rather drastic motion. So we'll be making the motion. It'll pass tonight.
Thank you again.
There you
I
go.
appreciate it.
You didn't fall on deaf ears.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have David Milstein. David?
I wasn't home when you were there. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, my name's David Nolstein. My address is 9450 Woodview Drive here in Macedonia. I'm here to speak on that ordinance number 52 on snowmobiles, dirt bikes, and ATVs. I understand it's not going to be voted on tonight, but I'd still like to say a few things about it. I did some research into existing ordinances that Macedonia has, and there's three in particular that one might suggest we consider enforcing to address nuisance or discourteous behavior with people that are riding dirt bikes or ATVs and not being courteous to their neighbors. The first is 509.03A2. It says making unreasonable noise which tends to incite an immediate breach of the peace. Seems to me that would be pretty appropriate if somebody's running around on ATVs adjacent to your property and they're just being obnoxious. That's disturbing the peace, by the way. There's also 331.36, which pertains to exhaust noise or it says cracking or chattering noise by stepping on the throttle. And then finally, there's another noise ordinance in Macedonia, 337.27, that limits the noise to 95 decibels on an adjacent property using a specific scale that I don't know how that scale works. In addition, Ohio Revised Code 4519.2 actually limits the noise level to 82 decibels, which is significantly lower than Macedonia's ordinance. All of these are opportunities to enforce, take care of what might be construed as discourteous or disruptive behavior by a neighbor. I ride my dirt bike on my property. I have more than an acre. I certainly don't ride it 250 feet away from my house. I think that's absolutely nuts to require someone on their own property to stay 250 feet away from their own house, whether it be a dirt bike, an ATV, or a snowmobile. I really can't speak to the business of someone having to stay 500 feet away from an adjacent property. I could probably do that on my property, but again, I think this is awfully restrictive and a knee-jerk reaction to what I think is an enforcement issue. I would ask that you consider that the existing ordinance has been in place for 24 years without any change, without any problems. All of a sudden now we have some people who may be behaving discourteously to some other neighbors, and it would seem to me that police enforcement would be the way to handle that instead of legislation that's going to essentially penalize the other 10,499 of us residents. Thanks for letting me speak tonight.
Okay, next will be Kathy Loya. Kathy?
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Kathy Loya, 9186 North Bedford Road. Just wanted to thank you, Council, for your continued correspondence via email in regards to the rain events that we've had since our last City Council meeting, particularly rain events on June 22nd, 23rd, and also the 27th. As you saw from our emailed pictures on those messages, that water was quite significant, especially on June 27th, and a very big cause for concern for both me and my husband. So I ask Council, now is the time. I ask that you please vote on Ordinance 78-2015 tonight to show us residents in the Ledge and North Bedford area that you can appreciate our stormwater situation and you wish to finally do something about it. As I've expressed in the past, I am concerned about additional stormwater running through our back property with expansions being done on 271 and then also updates that are going to be happening on Ledge Road. I don't know if anybody's driven down North Freeway Drive. I just noticed the other day that there's a new green pipe sticking out of dirt underneath the new bridge that's being put up by 271. I can only assume that's for water, and water usually runs downhill, and that means more water for us. The city cannot continue to route stormwater or I guess ODOT, they cannot continue to route stormwater down ledge and through my back property without some sort of proper management and maintenance to that stormwater. So again, I ask council, now's the time. Please consider that ordinance 78-2015 so that stormwater at Ledge in North Bedford can finally be properly addressed and managed. Thank you very much.
Very good. Patrick Kearney?
Hello. Again, I'm Patrick Kearney, 8257 Cricket Lane in Sagamore Hills. I was here to mainly just introduce myself and offer to be a consultant and to help get this ordinance passed through on the donation bins. It was our company who originally brought it to the forefront, and I just wanted to reiterate to the city that it's not our intention to paint the town yellow or anything like that with these bins. We take great pride in what we do, and the service is very important to us, especially being here in my backyard, a member of the community. Our warehouse is right here in Solon. We have a quick response. The initial ordinance that's proposed, I did make some comments I shared with the mayor and the law director. There's a fine line of being too restrictive and then too vague, and I've worked in many cities throughout the United States with regulation, and I just, again, wanted to offer my expertise, if you will, in the industry. And I'll be here for the meetings throughout, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. I did have property that had your boxes on it, and you were always very prompt in coming to pick up the litter, because a lot of people, instead of putting what should be put in the box, they put it next to the box. And that's one of our major concerns with that. So we need that cooperation from your company, that when we call, we get that instant response that I used to get. So
Sure, absolutely. It's important to us as well. And we take it a step further and we analyze each box, and if it's a continued nuisance, a continued problem, we move it, we relocate it, we do surveillance. There's a lot of different options that we can do to.
what happens to the things that are inside the box?
All the donations are collected and they're processed here in our Solon warehouse, and then they're sold for revenue, in which we support all the different programs. So many to get into detail on, but our website, we fully disclose everything as far as our financials. But we are a nonprofit organization. We're heavily involved with other nonprofits, especially in the area. A good example is the VFW here in Northfield. You know, that bin that's next to ours, we donated that bin. We refurbished one of our old ones. We had our decal company put decals on it so they can collect American flags and dispose of them the proper way. They had a need there, and we helped them fill that need. And that's just one example. We partner with a lot of different organizations as well. And again, we believe that people are donating these charitable items out of the goodness of their heart, and we should continue that as a charitable item and giving back and making sure that people who need it get it.
Well, as usual, there's always a few that spoil it for everybody, but I think your company has always been top-notch. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on. Next is Jody Wolf. Jody?
Hello, my name is Jody Wolf. I live at 8700 Wiltshire Drive. And tonight I would like to say that I'm in support of the ATV ordinance as it's written. I specifically am in favor of the not riding ATVs on less than 1 acre of property. We have a situation where there's an ATV racetrack right next to our property, and there's our ramp, and there are 3 ATV vehicles running for several hours throughout the day. My concern with this is that it's going to decrease property value for all the families in Macedonia who live on property that's less than 1 acre. Also, there are safety issues. This is happening right next to the sidewalk, and I know that we want to keep people safe that are, we have a lot of walkers in our neighborhood. And I feel that we all have the right to enjoy our property. And this has made it very difficult for us to enjoy our property, as well as our neighbors. And so I know that we all have rights to enjoy our property, and that this has been brought up as a reason not to have the legislation. But I feel that it's when those rights are abused that it becomes a problem. And so I think that the ordinance would help us preserve our rights to enjoy our property, and if we could come up with some kind of compromise where maybe people can still enjoy their property, but people can stay safe, and we will not be decreasing our property values.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes. Sylvia and I are talking about having discussions with you, and Jody and I have discussions pretty regularly about this issue.
I know that we've kind of asked a group of people to provide input.
Sure.
And I think it sounds like she's articulate and.
Well, she has been getting a copy of everything that we get, and we do right along. So Jody is very much involved. Thank you for coming down and talking.
And we've tried the noise, looking at the noise, and I appreciate that point that was brought up. But my understanding is the noise is very hard to measure, and it would be very difficult to enforce. So that was my first thought as well, is that, well, this should be covered by a noise ordinance. But I actually called a couple times last summer hoping that the noise could make this stop, and it wasn't very effective.
One of the things the police, one of the things the police have found with noise is that it's very easy to measure noise that is sustained. But when you have ATVs or any off-road vehicles, the noise is constantly fluctuating because as they're going around a lot, they go slower, they go faster. It's not that sustained noise. So I know our police, Vince, maybe you can even speak to this, find that very difficult to measure.
You know, and 95 decibels is very loud, and we do have a decibel meter. Chief Goldman and I are both trained on it, and we have tried for years to properly measure based off what the ordinance says, the adjacent property or roadway, and you would be surprised, even a two-stroke motorcycle doesn't hit that decibel, and yet it's loud. So
Yeah.
the other issue we have is they're racing back and forth as fast as they can go. When a cop car pulls up, now they're doing 5 miles an hour. You know what I mean? And,
Yes.
you know,
Yes, I get
and
you,
It's
yes.
very difficult, so.
But anyway, thanks for coming down.
Hey,
All right.
Jody, can I ask you if you would be kind enough to leave me either an email address or some information? I'd like to talk to you offline.
Certainly, I'll email you this evening.
All right, next on the list is David Lacey. David?
Hi, David Lacey, 8598 North Bedford Road. I'm also here about the ATV ordinance, and I think we do need an ordinance because you can get out of control with a bunch of kids getting together on a small lot. But I think that we can come up with a compromise to where everybody gets to ride. It should be your property, only you ride on your property, or something to that nature, or ride by permit, so that it's permitted on your property with certain restrictions as far as time allotments.
It's going to be, we're looking at everything, and
So-
there is going to be some more.
I mean, because you don't want to take all the rights away from all the
We
residents.
don't, but
Exactly.
we don't want to have situations where people are really abusive.
Well, and that's the problem. You have one group that does that, and then it's a liability risk. Like she said, you have 4 or 5 children riding around on a half-acre lot. You know, that's a liability issue for everybody, including the
Well, it
people walking
is
down the
actually,
street.
right. They could-
But, you know, if you do it by permit, then you're only permitted to ride on your property.
I see your question. I do see your point.
And then if you do it in allotments, well, you grab a permit, then you tell your time restrictions that you want to ride in, say, from 10 to 10:30 or 10 to 10:20. That way, if you get a call, then at least it's enforceable.
Right.
Because they know, hey, 2 o'clock, you didn't put that down. Or you're riding for 3 hours now, and
Yeah.
you're not even in your allotted time zone. So it's just another compromise to the ordinance.
And thanks for supplying ideas to us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Next on the list is Barb Lugos. Barb?
I'm Barb DeLugos, and I live at 8388 Valley View Road. I had 3 things I wanted to talk about quickly. One is the ATV thing. My kids had ATVs, they had dirt bikes, they had mini bikes, You have to use common sense. And it's a shame a lot of people don't have common sense anymore. I mean, my kids rode, not when the kids next door were taking a nap or something. The neighbor kids rode in my yard because their parents didn't want their grass ruined. And my yard is so convenient, we just open both gates on both sides and they can go around. Show me a noisy kid, and I'll show you a busy kid. A kid that's not breaking in. A kid who's not doing something wrong. Also, especially when these littler ones are starting out, you don't want to take them to a professional place to ride because they need your input. What did I find about good things that, because my kids were really into this? When my oldest son was taking driver's training and they got stuck in the parking lot at Chrysler in a snowbank, this other girl drove in the snowbank, the teacher couldn't get them out, and Scott said, "Move over, I know how to get us out of the snow." This is good for these kids to be doing something like this. It sure beats sitting in the house. All right, enough on that. And then, on this ordinance 64, an ordinance for the submission to the electors of the city, changing the number of votes for removal from a member of council from 4 to 3. When did we give council the authority to remove a member of council?
Yes.
I remember being on a recall. We voted everybody in. You state your case, put it on the ballot, and we will recall and vote out whoever we want. This isn't up to you people. You're elected people. Why did this all change?
May I address?
Yes.
It didn't change. This is, I was on charter review. This part of the charter has always been in the charter review. But if you remember, 4 years ago, the charter was changed, reducing council from 6 to 5. And this part of the section wasn't changed at that time. So now it requires a supermajority, and so the intent is to make this consistent with the other parts of the change in the charter. It's always been that way since the charter was started.
When did the charter start?
When did we become a city?
1971.
Okay, then why, when Karen Blair was on council, some of you remember,
We do. There's two processes by which a member of council can be removed. It can be removed by a recall, or under certain circumstances, it can be done by a majority of members of council for certain acts. It's not.
well,
a
I'm
change.
very against this, I'm sorry.
That's
If
fine.
we elected you to serve on council, we should be the ones electing you to not serve on council, period. It shouldn't be up to any of you. You know, this one said something I don't like, so let's get them off today. Right. Oh, and one other thing about the ATV thing, to keep it 250 feet away from your house, how do you suggest we get it back into the garage? You know, you gotta give thought when you're writing out all this stuff. I remember when everybody had the big dish in their yard. Oh, this is great. Well, we don't like how it looks. None of you were on council or mayor or anything. They wrote and they approved this, that it had to be surrounded completely with trees and bushes taller than the dish. Now, how did you expect to get a signal? Uh-huh. And you can't put a dish on your roof. That was the other thing. Where would you suggest I put it? In the basement? You know, think before you make these rules.
All right, thank you. Next on the list is Scott Robbie. Scott?
Hard act to
I'm
follow.
sorry for laughing, because that was good. I mean, a lot of thoughts got to be put into a lot of processes, you know, that you do. All right, I'm here over the stormwater. I was here before, you know, I want to brought up, you can have the acres back there, put your retainer pond in. Rumors of buying houses, I'm sorry, 26 years I lived in my home. I got parents that live up top of the hill, my parents are way up in age. That's why I moved out of the military, moved here to be close to my parents when they did get old. I grew up, went to Nordonia schools, I'm not gonna sell my home to do what you're gonna do. My purpose, my understanding is, if you wanna buy homes to cure this problem, you got the money to buy the homes, that means you have the money to turn around and do this solution I gave you. Okay, I gave you an acre of land to put your retainer pond in. If you're gonna spend $180,000 to buy 5 homes each, then you got the $180,000 from 5 homes to do the work on the properties. Put an end to all the water solutions down here. Because obviously, nothing against council, but you don't pay attention, because all these years, in the last 10 years, FEMA alone has turned around and changed the zoning down where we live, including the 20th of this, end of June, has been zoned into a higher water level now than it's ever been in the past. The water didn't just appear, it's been added down into that area. Everybody thought the subsidiary was the easiest way to get rid of water off the top of the hill instead of Indian Creek. So we'll use the subsidiary to put all the water in and just tell the people basically, move, buy your house, doze your house to fix the problem. I'm sorry, Macedonia created the problem, guys. You build homes at the top of the hill, you run the water down the hill. You build all the companies on Freeway Drive, you run the water down to the hill. You put a new interstate section in, what are you gonna do with the water? Run it down the hill. Where you put it all? Into the subsidiary. Back years ago, you dozed, you cleaned it all out and everything else. It handled the water for a little bit, but now I measured the other day, we have 4 inches left of creek. That's how deep of left before it goes over the bank. All that's completely flooded. I pulled tires out of my creek. You know, I pulled big logs from people's fireplaces that just, you know, they'll wash down the hill. All that stuff winds up because there's no place for it to go. Back years ago, you did check the ordinances, you were supposed to redo the piping underneath the road, because the pipe is too small to handle the amount of water put into there. That zoning just disappeared. The work was never done, the money never showed up to do the work. You know, and then I got told last week I'm not to get upset, okay? I'm sorry, to watch the way council moves and the way things are being done through all these years, and you go back and check, the money was put there, or the solution was put there to correct the problem, then it all disappeared. People come complain again, you'll dredge it. See, there's always been the problem. You just don't want to do the final step to do the solution. I mean, I can't go any further than what I'm doing. I gave you a piece of land that will cover any kind of water problem that comes down that hill. Just dig the hole, route the creek, and save everybody's home that lives in Macedonia down in the valley. Simple deal. If you can buy the homes, you can obviously turn around and dig the pond. I mean, I don't want to seem like I am upset about it. I just don't think it's moving fast enough to cure the problem. You know, because before the flooding zoning was set, my house was never included into it, because my house sits too far forward. Everybody else's house sits back closer to the creek. Under this new zoning now, my mortgage company sends me a letter. Now I got to turn around and put flood protection on my house. 25 years never had. Now I got to have it. That's because of how much water you've allowed to be dumped into that subsidiary. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you, Scott. Next, we have Sandra Reha. Sandra?
Having read the bulletin today, I have some input. My name is Sandra Reha, and I live at 8984 Cherokee. I have lived there for 50 years. I'm the house on the curb. I get all the water. All the water. The creek is about 180 feet from the back of my house. Water from this whole development comes down a ditch beside my house and goes into this creek. And the creek keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And there's a large sinkhole at the end of the ditch that goes all the way down. If a child fell in there, I would never be able to get out of there. It's just a hole. I've had water approximately 3 times. I have a 5-inch piece of wood in my basement door. So it's that high. I've had water come up that high from the creek. But I've only had water in the basement 3 times. I'm lucky. The fear is always there. Mr. He's not here, so he can't hear me, but Deacon, whatever his name is, he's a good guy. He's been to my place several times. When it rains, he'll come down to see what's going on. When there's a bad storm, there's a lot of overgrowth on both sides of the creek down there. We don't have a little creek. We've got a big creek. Thank you for your time, and just want to be sure that the property that your people are including about measuring and all this stuff, that my property, a lot farther than their property, is included in this quote or whatever you're talking about doing. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not a comedian, really.
All right. All right, so that concludes our public comments for this evening. So we're going to move forward with our regular agenda and go into pending and/or new legislation, starting with ordinance number 52-2015.
Mayor, for ordinance number 52, 2015, I'd like to hold it at second reading, please.
Just a second.
Somebody want to?
Second.
An ordinance amending, why can't I see how these? Amending section 37503 of the codified ordinances relating to snowmobiles, off-highway motorcycles, and all-purpose vehicles.
And Mayor, one of the things we've talked about is, we've had people come forth, and it's a community effort to try and figure out how we do it. Personally, when I read it, it's like, so with all the can't drive here, can't drive there, can't drive there, I didn't even know if you even had an ability to drive any of your vehicles on your property of an acre or more. What I have asked the mayor is that when this proposal for change comes back, that we give it to council for a work session, and then we have another public hearing, because it's important to hear from all of you if this proposed change for this ordinance with the ATVs is acceptable or not. The laws are created for all of you, not just for one or two.
Very good. Moving on to ordinance number 61, 2015.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 61, 2015 for its third reading by title only.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to section 301 of the charter requiring a mayoral primary for the May of the election year in the event there are more than 2 mayoral candidates.
And what's your pleasure?
Move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 61, 2015.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
No.
Ms. Tully?
I really took a look at this to try and figure out why we're doing this after all these years. Why would we require primary? What has changed in all the years? It's saying, so we only have 2. We're nonpartisan. So we're not Republican, we're not Democrat. So we don't have a primary by which political affiliation you have. The presidential election has more than 2 people on the ballot. So I'm not sure I understand the philosophy behind this. The other thing is if you have a special election for a primary and there's nothing else on that, we pay for it. You pay for it out of your taxes. You pay for that primary. I'm a personal belief that whoever wants to run has the ability to run. If one wants to pull petitions and go out and get names, go for it. I also believe that, I'm just not understanding this, but the more I thought about it, and I had a couple conversations, if you do a primary, when do you, as a person, choose to run? You're going to have to choose the year before, because you got to pull your petitions in January and get them on the ballot before, which is usually 2 months before primary, which is in May. So if we're going to do that, should we then have any council members who are considering doing that resign so that they're focused on their election instead of worrying about the city? How do you draw the line there? I personally think for a residential city of 12,000 people, it's never been an issue before. My vote is no.
Moving on, ordinance number
Don,
60.
excuse me, Don, I'd like to say just one thing about this particular one. A primary you don't pay for, and you don't pay for a general election. You only pay for a special election. I just wanted to make that correction.
That's not true.
Yeah, you don't pay for a primary.
If you're the only thing on the ballot, trust me, we go through this every year. If you're the only thing on the ballot, the community pays. Am I correct? Mr. Dean?
You pay in all elections, you pay a portion of it. It depends on how much it is. Yes, you pay.
All right.
Ordinance number 62, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 62, 2015 for its third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to section 303 of the charter, changing the number of members of council needed to override a mayoral veto from 2/3 to 4 members.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 62, 2015, according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Just to provide some clarity, I'm gonna defer to the legal department on this, but current day, to override a mayoral veto is what number of council members?
It's 4, but it's based on 2/3, which is a fractional part. So it's a clerical correction that is consistent with what the actual number is now.
So I guess the question I have, and when reading this, that was my assumption, does this need to go to the voters for that to fix this?
Unfortunately, it does.
Okay, I vote yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on, ordinance number 63, 2015.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 63, 2015 for its third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to sections 303 and 403 of the charter, changing the presiding officer at the meeting of council from the mayor to the president of council.
And what's your pleasure?
Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 63, 2015, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Ordinance number 64, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 64, 2015 for its third reading by title only.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, a proposed amendment to sections 413 of the charter, changing the number of votes for removal of a member of council from 4 to 3.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move we pass and post ordinance number 64, 2015, according to law.
I need a
Second.
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
You know, thinking about this one and listening to Mrs. DeLugos, and I'll defer to the legal department again, if we were to remove this completely where council could not remove a member, how would we go about doing that?
Council can introduce charter amendments anytime for the voters to consider.
So that wouldn't have to go to the ballot for that type of change?
It would,
It would?
yes.
Okay. And in thinking about this and obviously the climate of this council currently, I think that something like this is toxic. I think it's the worst idea that is on here for all of this. There is no way I would ever vote for this. My vote is no.
Ms. Tully?
Yeah, Mr. Lugos, the reason they can be removed is stated in here in the charter. Gross misconduct, malfeasance, violation of oath of office, persistent failure to abide by the rules of council. Some of that's pretty much open for interpretation. Malfeasance isn't, that's legal. You don't have a lot of gross misconduct, that's pretty much handled by the legal. But when you put that out of 5 people, 3 can say, you didn't follow the rules of council, you're right. Also, there is the opportunity, if there is someone on this DS that has been elected that you believe should not continue on this DS, that's what a recall is all about for you, the residents. I vote no.
Let me just make one comment here. This is purely it's more of a clerical correction too. This one was, we previously had 6 members and it was requiring 4. And this is saying we have 5 members and now we're at 3. That's basically all
Which
this
is-
was supposed to be, and it was discussed that way in charter review. I did
Yeah.
sit through that.
It may be mathematical, but when you get the power into 3 people's hands,
Well, okay. Just making the
that's,
point.
you gotta think about it. Why not make it 4? That you have to have all 4 people, because the 5th person doesn't get the vote.
Who is this?
Obviously, the person
Well,
you're
that would
trying
mean you'd
remove.
have to have
So,
unanimous.
It's no.
Yeah, well, I understand.
None of you should have the power. I'm sorry that
Well-
I'm speaking, but none of you should have the power. We gave you the power because we elected you into there. And if you present your case to us, we have the power to remove you by voting, enough people voting to remove you. Maybe we like the way you're working.
Ordinance number 65, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 65, 2015 for a third reading by title only.
Second.
And it's
The
the
delay
read, didn't
killed
need
me.
it.
The delay got me.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah. An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia proposed amendment to Article 9 of the charter by adding a separate section for the appointment of the prosecutor within the law department with duties.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance 65, 2015 according to law.
Second. Got that.
Roll
Get to
call.
say second.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes, and I think there should be a clarification, only because of the ballot language is amended to add new sections for the appointment of the prosecutor by the mayor, but the explanation we have is that the mayor shall appoint a city prosecutor. There's a difference in how it's handled today, and the Charter Review Commission felt that that should be handled differently, so it's a yes. But if you read the ballot language, kind of ambiguous.
Moving on, ordinance number 66, 2015.
I'd like to offer ordinance 66 for its third reading by title only.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia a proposed amendment to section 1001 of the charter by changing the composition of the planning and zoning commissions by removing the mayor and the appointed member of council and replacing them with the electors of the city.
And what's your pleasure?
Move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 66, 2015.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Yes, yes, Ms. Darrow, I'm sorry.
Yes, I
My
said.
words are kind of getting goofy here. Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on, ordinance 67, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 67, 2015 for its third reading by title only, please.
Do I have a second? Oh,
I don't need one.
We're good.
It's just-
Thank you.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, proposed amendment to sections 1002 and 409 of the charter by removing the platting authority from the planning commission and making city council the platting authority, and requiring that all recommendations of the planning commission be submitted to council for approval.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that, Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 67, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
No.
Ms. Tully?
I'm going to give one real quick explanation because traditionally people think all charter review amendments go right to the ballot. The ordinance beforehand was explained by Councilor Engel, 66, where we removed the mayor and the appointed member of council to the planning commission. Will then take the politics out of that committee. I agree with that. This gives the planning authority to council for approval. That puts the politics right back into it. You can't have it both ways. And the concern then can be, would you have the illusion of preferential treatment? I vote no. You can't have it two ways. It's one way or the other.
Ordinance 68, 2015.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 68, 2015 for its third reading by title only, please.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia, proposed amendment to sections 1001 and 1101 of the charter by requiring that one member of the planning commission serve as a non-voting member of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
And what's your pleasure?
Mayor, I'd like to ask that we post and pass according to law ordinance number 68, 2015, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
No, I just want to make a comment here. I think these two boards should be kept separate. I don't think that, in fact, I think that's going to be counter to what we should be doing, which the BZA should be totally separate from planning.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
And Ms. Tully?
Yes, this person is a non-voting member, so they're really there as a guidance.
Moving on, ordinance 69, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 69, 2015 for its third reading by title only.
An ordinance providing for the submission to the electors of the city of Macedonia a proposed amendment to sections 1403A of the charter, changing the number of votes from removal of the building commissioner from 5/6 of the members of council to 4 votes.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 69, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Before I vote, I'd like to thank all the members of the charter review that showed up and worked on the charter review. And they worked, they showed up and they put a lot of time and energy into this, and they're the ones that recommended all these come before council to go to the voters now. And I voted yes, and I'm gonna continue to vote yes because I think it's up to the people, and that these go to the ballot, and let the people decide how they want the charter to go forward. I vote yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on to ordinance 78, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 78, 2015 for second and third reading by title only. What?
Second.
Thank you.
I was thinking.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with GBD Group for professional engineering and surveying services regarding the Ledge and Bedford Road drainage study.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance 78, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Long time coming. First step to resolve for you folks, and it's gonna be a slow, drawn process. I don't want you to think it's not gonna be quick. I'm telling you that now. But absolutely, yes.
Ms. Tully?
I've had the commitment to do this for I don't know how long. We also have a copy of the map. If you'd like to see where this study will be, it actually, Nick Feeney probably has one that's not as dark as the Xerox one, so that you can see it encompasses uphill, downhill, and all around. As someone who lived on Navajo eons ago and got to ride a canoe down Navajo once, I don't want to see that happen again. It's absolutely overdue, yes.
And, you know, when we get into something like this, just as a passing comment, when you're working upstream, sometimes you actually help things downstream. So we might cure a problem in one place and end up curing it in 3 places. So it's a good thing. Moving on, ordinance number 82 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 82, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, I have to read it, huh? Come on. Take a book. An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Lee Kaufman to the position with 2 O's to full-time police and fire dispatcher.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post ordinance number 82, 2015 according to law.
Second.
What's your pleasure?
Ms.
Or
Darrow?
roll call, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Okay, Leah's here this evening. We welcome you, Leah. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and we look forward to working with you. All right. Moving on, ordinance number 83, 2015.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 83, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Bruce Genevieve to the position of part-time police and fire dispatch.
And what's your pleasure?
Move we pass and post according to law ordinance 83, 2015.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on, ordinance 84, 2000.
Before we do that, and I think at Mr. Genovese, can we back up to 82 with Ms. Kaufman? Traditionally, we make them stand up so everybody can see them, and they introduce who came with them. And you didn't do that. You skipped it, and we usually ask the police department or the fire department for any comments. So you got to back up. Sorry.
No free passes.
Well, actually, Leah preferred not to do that, so I'm sorry, Leah, I tried. Okay.
But maybe just introduce who you brought.
Yeah.
Okay, brought my son Scott with me.
Okay.
And Janelle Muha from Sagamore Hills, my old boss. And Bruce, of course.
All right. Very good.
Okay. Now I'd like to offer ordinance number 84, 2015, for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
Maybe someone get some water or something.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Bruce Genovese to the position of part-time corrections officer.
Did I get lucky and click?
And what's your pleasure?
Mayor, I'd like to ask that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 84, 2015.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
and Ms. Tully?
I hope to never meet you in this position, but yes.
He doesn't look that unfriendly.
All right. Bruce, would you like to say a few words?
It might be a breeze.
I would just like to say thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Mayor and the members of the council, and to all the members of the police department for giving me this opportunity.
And we look forward to working with you, Bruce.
Thank you, sir.
All right, ordinance number 85, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 85, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance confirming the appointment by the mayor of Brian Freehoff to the position of part-time corrections officer.
And what's your pleasure?
I move we pass and post ordinance number 85, 2015 according to law.
Okay. Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Another person I don't want to meet in their position officially, but absolutely yes.
Is Brian here this evening, Vince?
No, Brian couldn't make it this evening.
Okay, very good. Moving on, ordinance number 86, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 86, 2015 for a first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An emergency, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter in, authorizing the city engineer to solicit proposals for the emergency pavement repair at North Freeway Drive.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we post and pass according to law ordinance 86, 2015.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on, ordinance number 87, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 87, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and fire chief to prepare specifications and bids for a new medic unit and advertise therefore.
And what's your pleasure?
Mayor, I'd move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 87, 2015, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar,
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Chief, could you say a few words, please?
Yeah, this will be a new medic unit. We're approximately 150 calls above last year at this time. We're replacing a 1997 medic unit.
Very good. Ordinance number 88, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 88, 2015 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an EMS billing services agreement with Life Force Management, Inc.
Moving on to ordinance 89, 2015.
I offer ordinance 89, 2015 for its first reading by title only.
An ordinance authorizing an agreement with Cost Recovery Corps LLC in order to provide billing and related services regarding motor vehicle accidents.
And what's your, oops, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
no.
that was first. Ordinance number 91, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 90, 2015 for its first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Attorney General for delinquent debt collections.
Ordinance 91, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 91, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating money from the general fund to be transferred to Department of Fire accounts 101-222-5240 and 101-222-5580.
And what's your pleasure?
First of all, the reason we're transferring funds, this was the uniforms for the fire department that I noticed was over budget at 150%. This is to make that line item whole. So, Mayor, I would offer that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 91, 2015, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on, ordinance 92, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 92, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating money from the general fund and to establish a new account entitled Holiday Fund 101-170-5625.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance, offer ordinance number 92, 2015 to pass and post it according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
This is to take our Memorial Park after we're going through all of the work that we're doing to refurbish it, and we're finally going to make it look like other communities with holiday decorations. So thank you, Council, for that. Ordinance number 93, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 93, 2015 for first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, an ordinance making appropriations in order to facilitate various operating expenses year-to-date.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 93, 2015.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
And Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Ordinance 93 passes, and I thank council because this will allow us to pay the bills for fixing all the roads in Macedonia. Ordinance number 94, 2015.
I offer ordinance 94, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating funds necessary for dispatch upgrades.
And what's your pleasure?
I move we pass and post according to law ordinance 94, 2015.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes, I'd just like to comment that this has already been reimbursed by Sagamore Hills, and we are simply moving money to make sure that we can purchase these upgrades.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
And Ms. Tully?
Yes.
This is a good step in the right direction for regionalization, and now we have dispatch in Macedonia for Macedonia, Northfield, and Sagamore. Ordinance number 95, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 95, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating funds for the use by the Parks and Recreation Department in order to cover necessary expenses year-to-date.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 95, 2015, according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Ordinance 96, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 96, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating a fund transfer from general fund to 101, 110, 5575 for citywide server upkeep and other citywide computer maintenance.
Ordinance 97, 2000.
Wait.
We have to vote.
Oh,
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 96, 2015, please.
Second.
roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
And Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I'm getting swept away here with all these ordinances. Ordinance 97 now, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 97, 2015 for first reading by title only.
Second.
Just do one reading, right? Just one reading? Just one reading, right?
Oh,
Yes.
we did a first reading.
Okay. An ordinance completely repealing existing ordinance section 117119 of the codified ordinances, donations boxes prohibited, and adopting a new ordinance 117119, which regulates donation boxes and creates a permitting process.
And what's your pleasure?
It's a first
Oh,
reading.
that's first reading. Resolution number 98, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer resolution number 98, 2015, for its first, second, and third reading, please, by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution declaring the month of August 2015 Summit Kids Month in the County of Summit.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post resolution number 98, 2015, according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
And Ms. Tully?
Yes.
And we did it. That's all the legislation for this evening, unless we have any other motions or legislative action.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion directing you to obtain quotes to obtain an appraiser for the purposes of appraising the Gabriel property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Are there any other motions or legislative actions? Hearing none, we'll move on to correspondence to the clerk.
Well, I do have a few. Oh, it's not that bad. Come on. I know I stumble over words. Come on. Dear Mayor and council members, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Sagamore Hill Township, I would like to take this opportunity to commend Chief John Golden and his administrative staff for our recent regionalization of dispatch centers. Due to the recent unforeseen instances, our dispatch center was in an emergency situation, and we could not staff nor equip our dispatch center to what we felt the residents of Sagamore Hills have come to expect. Our chief contacted Chief Golden on June 15th, 2015, in order to ascertain if a recently discussed regionally of both the centers could occur on July 1, 2015. It is our understanding that Chief Golden and his staff worked diligently in order to accommodate this switchover. Today, our police department is now being dispatched by the Macedonia Police Department's Communications Center. We, as the Board of Trustees, would like to recognize the efforts put in this assistance of neighboring community, in the assistance of the neighboring community in need. Please issue a heartfelt thanks to Chief Golden, Lieutenant Yakupovich, and Ms. Sonia Becker. We ask that you include this letter in their personnel files, and it's signed by Paul Schweiker, the chair, on behalf of all the other trustees. This is to Officer Neal. My name is Declan Ferry Senior. I am a deputy sheriff with Franklin County Sheriff Office in Columbus. On May 17th, you came to the assistance of my son and his grandmother and aunt on I-271 in Macedonia. My sister-in-law told me that your interaction and how she was very impressed with your professionalism and caring for them. I wish to thank you as a fellow law enforcement officer for coming to their assistance, but more importantly as a parent, that you went out of your way to help my family. Thank you so very much, and God bless you and the fellow members of the Macedonia Fire Department. Dear Mayor Kukta, my husband and I would like you to know how impressed we were with the Macedonia Police Department when my husband was involved in an auto accident on Route 82 and Summer Road. The responders could not have been more efficient, courteous, and just plain nice. Officer I'm having a hard time with his name right now. Matejaja? You say it.
I'm
All right. And I can barely say it, but it's the only one she remembers, is the only name I can remember. Macedonia.
Matika.
Duh, thank you, and you're all watching me here, and the people across the universe are watching me
How
struggle.
could someone with a name like Jakupovich give you hassles over
I
that name?
know, but I know
was
I'm
waiting
not.
for the first syllable, and I was gonna try to
I
help.
know,
but
I know.
wasn't
It sounds
ready.
like a word game. At any rate, let's not be disrespectful. The ambulance driver was also very nice, and I want to thank everyone in the police department and the fire department. Marianne La Perma. Sorry about that. But thank you. That's it.
All right. Moving on to the mayor's report. You know, some people were calling my office yesterday to ask about the Channel 5 news trucks parked at City Hall. I'd really like to thank Channel 5 because their Crime Stoppers program's great. The trucks were here to do a segment on pickpockets in Macedonia. They show security tapes on the news, and they're very helpful to our police in apprehending the thieves. Yes, we do have crime in Macedonia. Kudos also to our police department for using any measure possible to help protect us. Road construction. Let me give you a brief synopsis of some of the things so you know where we stand. The Interstate 271 project is moving along on schedule and is due to be completed in October 2016. So we got a while to go yet. The new northbound ramp is still scheduled for completion on September 30th of this year. There are possible delays associated with the 271 jobs. Some of it's because of the lack of cooperation from Norfolk Southern, as usual. You know, we have to have a break in truck traffic in order to set the beams for the new bridges. In order to do that, train traffic must be interrupted. They are very reluctant, and I'm using that word instead of some others, to do that. And train traffic, unfortunately, does have the right-of-way. So we might even be able to get the job done sooner if we would just have more cooperation. South Freeway Drive is still experiencing pole relocation by First Energy. Route 82 construction on the west end of town has been milled and filled with the intermediate course. Now this course that they put down, that's not done. That's curing. And while that's curing, ODOT is doing some assorted jobs like fixing utilities or fixing the sidewalks. And we don't know exactly when the final course will be going down. We haven't been told a completion date, but it'll even be nicer than it is right now. Route 82 construction on the east end of town is scheduled to commence on September 7th of this year. That construction will take approximately a year. Now that's over there from Shepherd Boulevard going east. Pavement recycling has been completed on the B streets. Further work is being done before the final course is laid. I do get reports of things like chuck holes showing up or some unevenness in the paving. That's why they let it cure. So these problems come to view, and then we can fix them before we put the final course down. Bid documents are being prepared for our 2015 crack sealing program. The budget for that is $50,000, and we will complete as many streets as possible for that amount. So we do some sealing, and then where we let off last year, we start off this year and do as much as we can, and then next year we continue from there. The Ledge Road Bridge is scheduled to be repaired starting no later than Monday, July 27th. That will mean Ledge Road will be closed for 75 days starting on that date, so be aware. And then, of course, the Sioux Lane culvert replacement is complicated. You would think, what's complicated? You just dig up the street, put in a new culvert, and you're done. Well, unfortunately, there are sewer pipes that go underneath there, so when there are sewer pipes, there has to be coordination with Summit County DOES, which is our sewer people. They will be working with us, hopefully, but right now we're kind of waiting on them to give us some help so we can get this going. So I don't have any information on the starting date for you on that yet. As far as our service department, a few talking points. Memorial Park gazebo rehabilitation. They have new flooring, new supports. The decking is completed. New lighting has been ordered. Gloria Eileen, stormwater restorations, graded with clean fill dirt to prepare for topsoil and grass seed, so we're almost there. Gardens of Highland, tree removal is underway. That's where we had a lot of trees dying because trees were planted where they probably shouldn't have been. You know, a tree needs to have room around it, and the tree lawns there are very small, and the trees, unfortunately, that were planted there died. So now we're in the process of removing, and then we'll be replacing. Sioux Road is to remain closed, and that hole that has been there is doubled in size, so we can almost swallow a car there already. And then don't forget, folks, we have paper shredding going on this July 11th. That's this weekend from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So Saturday morning, you can bring a total of and a limit of 10 shopping bags. And that's it per car. It'll be located at City Hall. We have a sign out front right now inviting you to bring your stuff here to get rid of. And you just enter the driveway right off Valley View Road. And that concludes my report tonight, and we'll move right into committee reports.
Mr. Mayor, there'll be a planning commission meeting on Monday, August 17th at 5:30.
Are there any other committee reports? Hearing none, we're going to go to department reports, and it looks like we're running a little bit light over there today, but we had some people with other obligations, and we were going to be in recess, but we had this meeting. So we'll start with you tonight, Nick.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to touch upon your statement about the Sioux Culvert. We're at a point where we are close to wrapping up those engineering design documents, and we'd like to go out for bid as soon as possible. The two outstanding items to date, as you mentioned, one is Summit DOES. We're looking for a little bit of cooperation, and we need their approval with the way we have it designed right now. Hope to get that soon. In addition to that, we have to deal with Cleveland Water. We've also got a water line under the culvert. It's a little bit easier to move because you can lower pressure pipe systems. The sanitary sewer posed a bigger challenge for us, but we're waiting on coordination approval from both of those entities. As soon as we have it, we'll hit the streets with the bid packages and get prices for that work. I'd also like to thank council for passing the 2 items on the agenda tonight, one for the North Bedford and Ledge drainage study. We look forward to working with the city on resolving the issues there, and also for passing the North Freeway emergency pavement repair package. We'll get that in contractors' hands next week and hopefully get some prices over the next 14 days and get that pavement repaired. Thank you.
Nick, could I ask you, what has happened with the OLG situation?
The basin is under design right now.
And we're still negotiating.
Correct.
All right. All right, Tim, what you have for us?
No report, Mayor.
Okay, Vince?
I'd just like to thank you, Mayor and Council, for confirming the appointment of the 3 employees for the police department. We're happy to have them coming aboard.
Very good. Is there any unfinished business this evening?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Nick, did you forget to make a motion? You were gonna make a motion and I was gonna second?
What are we talking about?
About the computers?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
A long night. I'd
Okay.
like to make a motion, Mayor, to initiate a IT assessment of all the city's electronic equipment and internet and everything. So I think we need to go out and look for companies to do that, to begin that process.
Okay, I second that.
Sorry, thanks for reminding me.
That's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there any other unfinished business?
The trees, let me, one quick comment. You know, we had our arborist here who talked about the trees that were up at Memorial Park. He is willing to come out if you have concerns about trees in your own property. And I bring that up because the neighbor has found they have 10 to 15 ash trees. We have, I think, 5 to 7, and then the neighbor next to us on the other side also. But if you have concern as if a tree is ready to go or not go, you know, please let the city know, and Tom will be glad to come out and tell. You can really tell the arbor, or the ash trees, because they look like they're ready to go, but there may be others in your yard that you need to have taken care of, and he is willing to offer his services.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Also, I'm getting a lot of calls up by Sugar Bush. There's a lot of residents that like to know what's going on with some of the parks and when they're gonna start getting to be finished here because nobody's working on them.
Well, I think it would be a good idea maybe if you would call me where I could follow up on
Okay,
that for
well,
you.
all right.
I'd be
I just
glad
thought
to
maybe
do
you can
that.
find out, you know, so we can,
I know there was a lot of cleanup that was supposed to occur.
All right. Any other unfinished business? Any new business?
I'd just like to make one additional comment to Mr. Havlicek's comments. We too went and saw the traveling wall, the Vietnam Wall. As the wife of a Vietnam veteran who served 3 tours, I actually got him to go. I didn't think he would. And it was very moving, and it was very well appreciated. And the Twinsburg VFW and the city of Twinsburg need to be commended for bringing that in. What a great weekend. And the Northfield VFW, I understood, paid for the fireworks that were conducted then. As well, Mrs. DeLogos, you missed it, they had a car show also. So they had that also. Then on Sunday, my church had services there, and they had the missing man ceremony. It's very, very emotional for me because you look at the years and you realize where you're at that time. You know, from 50s to 60s to early 70s. It's very difficult to know that the people you went to high school didn't come home. So, Mr. Havlicek, that was very moving.
Just, may I make a comment?
Go ahead.
I went to that wall also because I keep putting it off, not wanting to go because I'm not sure what my emotions would be. I finally went through a lot of my history and found that 22 names were on that wall in the Laos incursion that I had memorial services for.
Wow. All right. Is there any other unfinished business? New business? Do I have a motion to
Motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
second,
Yeah,
Josephine, roll call, please.
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
And Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming. Come again.
My contacts are sticking right to my eyes.
Hi, John, bud. How you doing? Doing all right? Oh, yeah.
Hanging in there?
Okay, got to.
Yep.
I'm 90 now.
Oh, my gosh. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you can bring your burger ready for next right
Preliminary design.
now. At least you get some of the money to get it all started, right? Said you could get a lot of stuff started, you got a lot of money.
I went up,
My quirk. I think he is. He's bad, but they also look to match.
You don't even have to tell me, Rita.
I grabbed it, okay?
Thank you
So
very
is
much.
Nick Mona, where's they? That's what I was trying to nail down. She left her puppy out. Well, I'll grab it too, okay? Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.